Okay, so in this episode, I'll be talking about the PEDs and my use of PEDs in this sport, and a lot of other things related to the anabolics, like side effect profile control, reactive versus enhanced, and a lot of that. So my use of anabolics is going to be like before deciding to be Trojan. So I was on like TRT for like 6 months, I think. So I have used like one or two oral anabolics for like very short time, and I've been very regular with the blood works to find out the feedback of how those TRTs been acting on my body. And yeah, then I was dealing with my injuries. So after deciding to be coach, so even the decision was very delusional, very obsessive, like very childish of if someone look onto that decision I took. So even at that time, I have that injury. I can't do any kind of back pressure initiating movements to the workouts. So yeah, after making that decision, I've been thinking about designing an insane plan of which consists of the first thing is going to be the science behind the sport, and then my training and diet, and yeah, a very big changes on my lifestyle itself. So there was a lot of sacrifice in it. You will realize those in later in this video. So you can see that deciding to beat coaching is such an impossible goal to make it possible, right? You have to be at least insane to do the impossible, right? My plan was to take almost everything, every kind of combo can benefit my arm wrestling skill, healing, recovery, strength, everything that can benefit my games. So if we look into the PEDs, the performance enhancing drugs, so it is not only just anabolic steroids. Anabolic steroids is just a part of many things. Or it is just a part of certain compounds. So there is a lot of pathways to look into these PED compounds. Like the other pathway is going to be the CNS benefiting compounds, or the central nervous system benefiting compounds are there. Then one pathway is going to be the speed, reflection, such compounds. So there is a lot of pathways behind this PED that it depends on the sport and your goal that you are going to achieve. So yeah, there are literally a lot of categories of PEDs out there. So first one is going to be the anabolic steroids. So many people accuse me of taking just only anabolic steroids. So I just want to say that I'm just taking the whole PEDs that otherwise, in other words, I would say I was literally taking a lot of combos that benefit the arm wrestling game, that benefit my arm wrestling game. So one of them is going to be anabolic steroids, which I have tried like 30 to 50% of hormones out there, and then it's going to be the SARMs, selective androgen receptor modulator, which is pretty safe than anabolic steroids, but still it have some other kind of side effects. So it is very new into the market, and the products are pretty hard to source it. Legit products are pretty hard to source it. So yeah, I have tried like almost half of the SAMs, I would say. I need to still experiment a lot of other SAMs to other compounds in the SAMs category. So the next thing is going to be the peptides, which I have spent a lot of money on that to heal my injuries, and as well as there are some benefit, which is very good for arm wrestling, I would say. So if you are into this game, I think the first thing you have to research is the peptides. Then only you have to go through the other compounds. So yeah, from the peptides, I have tried like I would say a lot of peptides, but I have spent a lot of money too. But half of them is going to be injury healing peptides like BPC, TB500, GH segregates, IGF releasing compounds, IGF releasing compounds, and yeah, that's it. That's it from the peptides. And I'm looking into some of the compounds in that category to try out in the future as well. So yeah, very interesting category or area of PEDs to look onto in the my next plan in the coming years. Next thing is going to be the supplements. So yeah, I was taking a lot of supplements from the beginning of my training itself. So I've been experimenting myself with a lot of supplements, even natural herbs, when I was before starting TRT to increase my T levels. And after on the TRT, I have been very careful with certain supplements, which is very beneficial and very necessary for my so the compounds I've been taking. So yeah, from the basic itself, I've been stacking a lot of supplements every month, which is a regular supplement stacks. And on top of that, I've been trying out different doses, different supplements, to find out the benefits. So I have spent literally a lot of money per month. I've been spending, like, I can't say that amount, but I have been spending a lot of money on supplements itself. So yeah, before coming into the arm wrestling, I've been planning to do the biohacking game with my body on the performance for the sports, and as well as backing level on lifestyle modifications as well. So I will do that in future next year. From next year onwards, I'll be experimenting with a lot of peptides and medicines to find out the potential benefit in biohacking area. So then I've been using some of the research hormones. Research hormones means it is not in the market, but it is still in the studies, and not all of them knows about this kind of compounds, and it is very hard to source it also. So the easiest thing to source is going to be the follistatin 344 peptide, which is a myostatin inhibitor. So yeah, I have tried that, but the effects are not that much for the money I have spent. So yeah, there's a short story on that compound itself. Then I have tried a veterinary medicine, which is solely prescribed for dogs and horses. It's not anabolic steroids, and it is very safe for human use also. So I can't say out the name, but it is to heal my injuries. It is very niche in this country itself. I think most of the Australians have tried it and post the feedback on that. Even my doctor didn't know about it. And such an interesting hormone to experiment further in the upcoming months or in the next year for the sport itself. It has, so in the next 5 years, I think the hormone is going to be in the pharmacies because it is very good, and I'm not going to reveal that. I have to keep my secrets after all. So the next thing is going to be insulin itself, the dangerous thing in the PED world. I have experimented. I have have tried the insulin, short-acting insulin like Humelo once in a week. I have experimented with that for like many months, but I don't think it has any good benefit for arm muscle. But in the bodybuilding or powerbuilding or other strength training, it has a very good benefits to in nutrient partitioning and all of that. But there are side effects. If you use it appropriately, then you can take a lot of benefits. You can benefit a lot from it. And it is also, there are a lot of side effects. Like if you use it, like if you abuse it, then you are going to get diabetes itself. If you abuse it furthermore, then you are going to literally you will be in a coma state. So it is such a dangerous hormone. And at the same time, if you use it, appropriately, then it is very safe to use too. The next category is going to be a lot of medicines. So in the pharma world, there are a lot of medicines that is cared for certain illness and health issues for the general people. So the first one I have tried is like some couple of medicines that is prescribed for stroke suffering patients or patients who had paralyzed certain hormones that plays with the brain chemistry. So I have tried that, but I don't think there is any potential benefit for that. But still a good hormones to experiment with is not what you're looking for. So the next thing is going to be medicine that is prescribed for asthma patients. So that had a good benefit for me in the arm wrestling. Then I have tried like a medicine that is prescribed for osteoporosis, not the basic things, but it is what I would say, a kind of injection that is prescribed for osteoporosis, which if we use it properly, then you can increase the bone structure, microtraumas. If you induce any microtraumas in your hand, then that kind of medicine can heal the bones and make it stronger, and also the connective tissues like tendons. But I have not used it regularly, so it was just an experiment. But in future I have to try it in a regular basis to find out any benefits for the sport. Then a lot of therapies, treatments, physio, like I have done PRP and a lot of physio treatments. Like that's all I have used. And then there are certain hormones like which is used by athletes in marathon, running, sprinting, like that kind of sports, which is not banned in WADA, but which has a very good potential in many aspects of the sports. But I have tried like a couple of those hormones too, but I think I have to try out more from that category itself, which is, I would give another clue, is going to be it is most of the hormones are from Russia itself. So in a nutshell, I have to say that I have been using it very carefully and been very eager with the safety profile. So I was working on many pathways to improve arm wrestling abilities, also to heal my injuries. So the first, the main priority is to heal the injury and recover the connective tissues as fast as I can. So even though when I was using all of these things, I was not very sure about the hormones that have any potential benefits. So I was just it's better to say that I was experimenting with all of these hormones in such a short time, like within 1 year. I think it is like I think it's only for like 7 or 8 months I have been using all of these hormones. So this, I would say that I have experimented all of these hormones, and I was very safe with it, and my protocols were solid to fight any side effects or risks. So as far as I know that I have used this hormones very carefully in my body, so I have to be more careful. So it's better to say that I'm a scientific experiment, because I don't think any of those arm wrestlers have used all of these, or within the budget. I think this is the best I can do. So this is as far as I can go. If I had more budget, then I would have tried a lot of research hormones, a lot of peptides, a lot of other kind of medicines that have the potential to improve the arms, and then a lot of athletes specific hormones. So that's all of the things I have used. So coming into the side effect management, so the risks related to the PED use. So before going into the list of side effects, let's talk about the the usual existing stigma out there about the side effect of using antibodies. So before going into that, I need to. So there is a huge misconception in the general populations, who most of the natties, that all of the PED users are getting these side effects. So like they are like luckily escaping those side effects without doing anything. So if you are a natty and we are enhanced users, so there is a big barrier in between them. So once we were natties and we cross that barrier and become enhanced users, so natties can't really understand or to comprehend or like to realize or open about how we are managing those side effects. So those big barrier is actually real, because even though the side effect management protocol is still out there, you are just few clicks away from the away from knowing the truth, or are you being, hypocrite or delusional about, these side effects? So I'm going to, list out all of those side effects, and after that I'll be, explaining the management, how we, manage those side effects. So yeah, the first one is going to be the hormonal imbalances. This is the first side effect you are going to get from, injecting a hormone or starting a TRT. Complete hormones are going to be get imbalances. The hormones like testosterone pathways, free test and total test, estrogen, prolactin, thyroid, SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin, and DHT, dihydrotestosterone. Normally DHT, progesterone, LH, FSH, the luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, then cortisol, then insulin. It is a major hormone that can amplify, a lot of more risks if not, if you're not controlled it very well. Injecting, testosterone, all of these hormones get imbalances. Mainly, estrogen, prolactin, LH, FSH, cortisol, insulin, all of these hormones fluctuate and cause, their own side effects. If you look at estradiol, high estradiol can cause, BP issues, water retention, and all of those. If you reduce the estrogen, or if you crash the estrogen, that can, cause a lot of other side effects. It is very important to not crash estrogen. Then, if you look at prolactin, high prolactin can, reduce the dopamine signaling, libido issues, erectile dysfunction, and a lot of those things. If you look at the thyroid, it itself can, cause a lot of other issues. SHBG is another, hormone. High SHBG and low SHBG can, furthermore, cause other issues. High DHT can, like, hair fall, acne, other kind of fall, a lot of issues. Progesterone, which is, very less common, 10 or an androgen derivative hormones, then you can affect the progesterone itself. HPTA hormones, LH, FSH, the signaling is going to get suppressed or sometimes get shut down depending on the compound. Then cortisol, the stress hormone. It depends on a lot of other factors, and like I said, too much cortisol and very low cortisol has its own risks related. Then insulin. If you're insulin sensitive, then that's a good news. But if you're insulin resistant, then it can potentially cause diabetes, inflammation, oxidative stress, and a lot of risks. It can amplify a lot of other risks. So if you look at the hormone panel, when you inject testosterone, all of these hormones has to be in control. Otherwise, it can cause a lot of other risks or amplify, a lot of other risks. So that's all about hormonal imbalances. And I'll, discuss the management protocols in later part. So the next one is going to be the infertility. This is the most feared and most misunderstood and the most careless issue that, all the individual has on while taking the steroids. So the first thing that is going to happen is the HPTA axis suppression or shutdown. HPTA means hypothalamus pituitary, some kind of axis. There are certain hormones that are going to suppress, like TRT will literally suppress, LH and FSH signaling, and a lot of other anabolics are going to suppress. And there are, a lot of other hormones that will literally shut down the HPTA axis. So that needs, a serious recovery protocol. Hormones needs, serious recovery programs to, recover these issues. So it will further, cause testicular atrophy. Then it will affect the sperm quality. Then it will further cause estrogen prolactin imbalances, induced risks. So a lot of people are, suffering from infertility other than using, steroids. Because so there are a lot of affordable hormones and a bit expensive hormones out there to, to manage infertility and, risks related to these kind of actions that is caused by, anabolic steroids. So the first one is going to be the HCG, human gonadotropin, peptide. I think that is the, right full for that. So it is easily available and it will cost around like below 400 for like 1 month. So easily available and it is very helpful. The next one is going to be the enpromorphin. So like I said, it is a SERM, like SCR, and I have both of them with me. It is very affordable and easy to use while on cycle and off cycle. So if you are facing high infertility risks, then I would suggest to take HMG, which is a little bit expensive, but then you can find recombinant LH and FSH hormones. I think it is not that available, but you can get it from the infertility IV centers. So there is a peptide called kisspeptin, which is a research hormone. But if none of these works, then you can source that peptide and try it out, and you can do the research on yourself. All of these hormones I have listed. Then there is a lot of herbal supplements, like literally a lot of herbal supplements that the natties use for more teeth production. Then there are a lot of minerals and other supplements that can really help in infertility issues. Like a lot of, even just fish oil is one of the supplements that can help in infertility. Then zinc, magnesium, selenium, a lot of other things. So there are a lot of options to control infertility. But most of the bodybuilders, I would say, they don't even know the hormone HCG. I have spoken to a lot of bodybuilders and most of them don't even know what HCG is. So they don't even look HCG. I would say that you can easily control infertility issue while being on steroids. So if you're genetically prone to have infertility, then don't take steroids. It is going to amplify the effects. So if you're getting infertile, or if you have the chances of getting infertile, then there are a lot of options to look into, and you can create your own protocol to help your infertility issues that can be caused by this hormones, that can be caused by anabolic steroids. So the next one is going to be the liver function issue. So there are two types of anabolic steroids. One is going to be the orals, in tablet forms. Then the other one is going to be the injectable forms. So let's talk about injectables. So when you inject that compound into your muscles, then it will directly go into the bloodstream and regulate all over the body. Then so it will have very low risk in liver. And so there are some hormones or some injectables that have indirect liver risks, like lipids and hormonal risks that can further develop after taking those compounds. Then if you look at orals, that have the high risk of causing liver function issues, which means that I think almost all orals are of 17 alkylated orals. So which means it is going to be metabolized in the liver. When you took that capsule, it is going to be metabolized in the liver and then goes into the bloodstream. Now in the blood work, you can see the ALT and AST rises. It can so orals can cause hepatotoxicity in all aspects of your liver. So when you do the blood test, you have to look at the variations in ALT and AST, then bile acid, fatty liver, fibrosis, scarring in the liver tissue, and cyst can be formed in the liver tissue. If you use certain hormones if you use certain hormones, like if I could say Winstrol, Superrol, Halotestin, D-bol, took the D-bol, then I can feel the itching at the night, which means that my bile acid has raised to certain levels. So I have literally fixed that immediately. So other than that, I haven't experienced any side effects from liver function. So that can be very simple. There are a lot of hormones that has been prescribed for like I have said, AST, LSD, bile acid, fatty liver issues. So the first one is going to be the most underrated hormone is going to be the UDCA, UDCA PVC. Then we have TUDCA, TUDCA. Then we have NAC, N-acetylcysteine, a precursor to glutathione. I have I'm stacking NAC daily, first thing in the morning. So it is a very essential supplement you have to incorporate in your stack. Then is going to be ALA, alpha lipoic acid. When you buy alpha lipoic acid, you have to buy RALA. This is another simple advice from that. Then vitamin E, silymarin, aka milk thistle. It has to be taken after you're completing your cycle. Then you can take berberine or metformin if you have any insulin-related liver risk. Then the basic thing is going to be the fish oil. I think fish oil benefit most for the enhanced users than natties. So then you can take glutathione in oral form if you're just supplementing. Then if there is any serious liver injury, then I would take injectable glutathione in between or after the cycle. So I think there are a lot of options to manage the liver risk. But if you gamble your life, or if you don't know any of these, then by taking anabolics you are going to get fatty liver or permanent liver damage that cannot be reversed. So I think it depends on the individual. So if the individual is careless about all of these hormones or the functions, the side effect management protocol, then they deserve to have liver disease, liver related disease or any kind of side effects. Because I know certain users that just take orals or injectable as they like, and they are not even aware of certain hormones I have listed. Because even though I have to research or to find out UDCA, UDCA, which is such an amazing hormone to incorporate in while using anabolics. Because I think most of you guys don't even know what UDCA is, but you have been aware of TUDCA and other things. But there are a lot of such ancillaries and medicines out there to really benefit anabolic users or PED users. Okay, so the next thing is going to be the renal function. So, under the PED use, I would say kidney is the least affected organ or the least affected side effect I had, or the least side effect I had while doing this PEDs. Because the main thing that concerns with kidneys is the dehydration. When you force your body into dehydration, the kidney will have a lot of stress, as from the electrolyte imbalances and also from the dehydration and then BP issues. When you are dehydrated, your BP will be elevated, and RBC and everything will strain the kidneys. When you do the filtration, you can just do the basic research of how kidney works. So for me, I don't force myself to get dehydrated, or my style of training doesn't force me to get dehydrated. Even though while I'm cutting, I don't think I have to be dehydrated. So if you look into the bodybuildings, so at the competition prep, they will literally do the water cut and they use the diuretics. So diuretics is way dangerous than the anabolics or transpeptides or any other things, because diuretics literally drain out the water from every part of your body. So if you don't use that carefully, then your kidney will get affected the most. And most of the bodybuilder who have some kidney damage or goes to the dialysis because of the use of diuretics. So in my case, I'm doing the strength training, so I don't need to be in I don't put myself into such a position to dehydrate myself. I just take a lot of water, so my BP is in control. I don't get dehydrated, but electrolyte imbalance is a thing. So yeah, that has to be controlled by taking the ORS supplements. Literally salt, just control your salt intake and those things. So I don't think there is any, supplements or medication for kidney strain, because in my case, I haven't researched, that much on the kidney state, but, I think, yeah, I've been using telmisartan. So it works synergistically with kidney as well as heart function. So it, lowers the blood pressure through some PPA agonist or something. I can't recollect it right now. So telmisartan really works better for the kidneys also. So yeah, I think there is some kind of herb or some supplements that can, benefit the kidney too. But, controlling BP itself is a good concern for, your kidneys. So yeah, that's all for the kidneys, I think. So coming to the heart health. So this is the most feared, the most, misunderstood, or, the most concerning thing to a natty is that when you take, injectable testosterone to any kind of steroids, you will get heart attack. Uh, I don't think that works like that. If you want to get heart attack from anabolic steroids, then you have to inject, massive doses. I mean, extreme doses that, 1% of anabolic users run in their life. So in that dose for like many weeks, then without monitoring your BP and all those markers, then you will die of heart attack. Because, if you're genetically prone to have a heart attack, then just half of the dose can kill you. Because it is literally like that. If you look at any kind of bodybuilders who have died from, anabolic use, then most of them have genetically prone to have a heart attack. Literally, most of the bodybuilders die from such extreme doses, for a long time. Even if you look at Rich Piana, he's running, his doses were like certain high doses of growth hormone per hour. And a load of anabolics that he was literally, killing himself by, injecting that compounds, because it is literally a suicide if you run, these kind of medicines or anabolic steroids in such a manner. So yeah, so the three most concerning thing is going to be the left ventricular thickness or hypertrophy. Then the next thing is going to be the heart attack. Then the next thing is going to be the heart enlargement. Okay, so the explanation that is always gives that, when you take anabolics, the blood will get thickened and it will, create a clot or something. Then you will suddenly have heart attack. Then they will say, heart is also a muscle. So when you take steroids, arm muscles get bigger. Likewise, the heart muscles also get bigger. To an extent, it is, literally stupidness. Because if you do the research, it doesn't work like that. If, if it does work like that, then, half of the bodybuilders, at least half of the bodybuilders have been, dead by now. Because even though if you look at the doses of, combining all of those things, they will literally, cause those heart attacks, but they won't, because, it depends on the dose, duration, and a lot of other things. So the first thing that have potential to, affect three of those, heart, left ventricular attack and enlargement is going to be the BP, blood pressure, literally that. So if you are not controlling your BP day to day, then you deserve to, die from heart attack. I don't think a general individual or, just a general fitness guy do their heart checkup, daily. Like I'm saying, BP monitoring and taking the medications or supplements according to the, values the BP monitor is going to give. So, as an enhanced user, then you have to be aware of your BP in a regular basis, in a daily basis, I would say. And it depends on the hormones. Even just ERT can, raise the BP for certain people. If you're genetically prone to have heart attack, then I won't recommend to do any kind of, anabolics, SARMs, that is nothing. Because otherwise you have to fix your heart rate while doing your, the regular cardio and take the regular medicines and supplements. And for a while you have to maintain your heart health. Then even think about, starting the, this PED compounds. Because, any kind of PEDs will amplify the, any kind of illness or any kind of genetic force you have. So I will talk that in later. But yeah, so controlling blood pressure on daily basis is the number of is the first thing that is going to prevent all three of them happening. So controlling BP on a daily basis is the most important thing to manage your heart, kidney, liver, all kind of side effect pathways. So yeah, the method of controlling the heart rate is to get a BP monitor and get the necessary medicines like telmisartan, Nebbiol, and fish oil, and some nitric oxide boosters like L-citrulline, Enlargement, and a lot of things available in the pharmacies and in the supplements, Amazons. You can literally buy like more than 50 of hormones that can help with your BP and heart related issues. So yeah, the first thing is going to be the blood pressure monitoring. Then the second thing is going to be the blood work, complete blood panel test with the lipid profiles, because you have to be aware of your hematocrit values like RBC, CBC, the thickness of your blood. RBC is very important. Like if you run certain compound and if you're genetically prone to have this flows in. If you're genetically prone to have heart attack, then you have to do more tests like heart focused blood tests. Like I can't recollect it right now, but yeah, you have to do that. You have to be very concerned with the blood work. Then the estrogen control itself. This is a mistake I have done for this whole year, because controlling your estrogen is very important while being on TRT and other hormones. Because if the controls means that your estrogen doesn't go that much and it doesn't go lower. But if that goes high, then the only major risk you can get is the gynecomastia. Nothing other than that. But if the estradiol levels go down, then you are going to get a lot of issues, like even heart issues right there. Estradiol management or lowering estradiol have negative impact on your heart and your joints and a lot of other things. So even though I told the high estrogen natties, but the thing is that as well as we optimize the T levels, the estrogen has to be in such a ratio to be managed. So it can literally cause a lot of other side effects. Estradiol is a very big thing, that I will cover it later. So then the next thing is going to be your regular blood work, like I have said. Then ECG is a good thing. You can If your budget is pretty high, then you can do a regular scans like MRI, CT to understand the heart wall thickness uh, and the enlargement of your organ. So the enlargement, okay, like I have said, the left ventricular and heart attack is going to be managed like this. And also I have to say is that you, even considering all of this, you have to do regular cardio on a daily basis. You have to always push your cardio works without high intensity. That is also important thing, because the way I do is that before workout I start my warm on that treadmill in an inclined position, like pretty much inclined, not just comfortable inclined, but a little high to 5 or 6, I would say. Then at the speed of 4 to 5, do your cardio at 5 to 10 minutes at least. The least I'm saying, you have to do this regularly, so you can prevent the heart wall thickness and arterial clot blocking, a lot of things behind the cardio itself. So this is the most important thing. Like I have said, controlling your BP, then this is the most important physical activity you have to do before workout, not after workout. So the cardio has to be kept under the intensity. Don't go high intensity on cardio. Don't go explosive workouts unless the sport demands such a kind of workout. Then don't choose the explosiveness. Don't choose the intensity. Just keep your heart rate on a pretty much inclined basis, I would say. So cardio on a daily basis is has the same importance as controlling your BP on a daily basis. This is the two best things you can do on your BP, your lipids, your heart health. The medicine supplements that can support your heart health is going to be, the first one is going to be the telmisartan. 20 mg is enough, I would say. It is the most, it is such a wonder drug because it helps with a lot of things, and it is very safe to take, and it is easily available, very cheap to buy. Okay, so the next thing is going to be nebivolol or nebivolol, something like that. I haven't used it, but when I take something that raises my RBC, then I would stack it with telmisartan at low doses. So then the other easiest thing you can get is the fish oil. You doesn't go high dosages, because I have run like triple strength fish oil on morning as well as night. It poses a serious side effect as heart arrhythmia, like a little kind of palpitation in your heart. So fish oil is a potent blood thinner. It supports almost every kind of side effect you have, but don't go high doses on fish oil. Even I had that kind of side effect for like 1 week when I do double doses on a day. So just take fish oil morning, and that's it. Triple strength fish oil is more than enough. So the next thing is going to be the nattokinase. It is a kind of herb or something, which is a mild blood thinner, but it is not needed. But if your BP goes like more than 150 in your monitor, then you can consider. But if telmisartan and nebivolol won't fix it, then you can consider the nattokinase. Then hydration is the main factor. If you hydrate your body that much, then you can avoid a lot of these supplements or nattokinase or something. Then the usual nitric boosters like L-citrulline, arginine, taurine, beetroot extracts, potassium and magnesium. Then you have statins, berberine, niacin, citrus bergamot, CoQ10, which is a very good supplements, and it is pretty costly. But even though I'm stacking the CoQ10, then like I have said, statins, berberine, niacin, which helps with your HDL and LDL levels. I mean lipids. So many of you guys say that your heart will get bigger. So the process is going to be very simple, because when you use anabolics such as testosterone or DHT derivative anabolics, then you combine it with peptides such as growth hormone peptides in high doses. You note it down, okay? So high doses of growth hormone and anabolics will literally grow your heart. There is a high chance of making your heart bigger by taking high doses. Means to more than 5 or like more than 8 units of growth hormone per day with high levels of anabolics and DHT levels in your bloodstream. Then you have the chances of enlarging your heart in a long run, I would say. And I'm not talking about like once in a week or twice in a week, but maybe if you do this regularly for more than a week or more than a month or like more than a year, then you will definitely grow your heart. If your genetics prevents that, unless your genetics prevent that, because the way, if you look at Rich Liana diet, this is the reason he's taking growth hormone every hour. That is very crazy and very extreme. Like we can't even think about it. Is literally a suicide. If you are planning to do suicide, then I would literally advise you to take anabolics in high doses, because at least it will fix, either it will fix your mental state, or you are dying in a good manner, I would say. Literally, why are you jumping off from a bridge, or cutting your way? Just take some anabolics and die like something. If there's a hope, then you will find out, or just die from overdose of anabolics. So coming to the natties, okay, even though natties can have all of 3 side effects, like I have mentioned, left ventricular thickness and hypertrophy, heart attack, heart enlargement. One thing that depends onto their lifestyle, the way they are living, their alcohol, smoking, their diet, sleep, the stress they have, the hormonal issues, all of those unhealthy lifestyle impact a load on their heart. Even when we take anabolics, at least we manage all of these parameters and take necessary supplements and medicines. But a usual general individual won't take all of these, and they are living such an unhealthy life for a long time, and at the age of 30 to 40 they will have a heart attack. So
That is one thing. So the next thing is going to be the genetic factor. So if you are genetically prone to have heart attack, then nothing is going to prevent you from having that heart attack, unless if you are managing it on a daily basis, like I have said. So when we take this, we are at least managing this BP and all of those things on a regular basis, even blood work. Okay, so if you are prone to have, if you want to know how to, if you want to know how you are genetically prone to have a heart attack, just go and do a gene testing. So it will cost you like 50K to 1 lakh, I think. So it will, it is the best ways to find out if you have any kind of genetical flaws in your body. So the next thing is going to be your training itself. If you are unhealthy and do your high intensity training, then literally you will die in that gym. That is the I think the main reason for people dying in the gym, because it depends on the genetics, it depends on the lifestyle, it depends on the training. Then on top of that, if you take pre-workouts like high dose caffeine pre-workouts of DMMA, I can say a lot of that, yohimbine, ephedrine, kind of those stimulants, you can die from heart attack. In PEDs, the above thing is going to be clenbuterol. Such compounds are there, that can cause heart attacks, and there is evidence for that in the fitness culture. So even this is the funniest thing, is that even those natives who are blaming us for taking steroids, they are more prone to die from heart attack. At least we are managing all of these. We are doing the research, we are more aware about our heart health. Even though when we are injecting those hormones, we are more aware of our heart health, because we have the more chances of developing such heart issues. So when we do this on a regular basis, then we are more healthier than a guy with such flow. So most of the time, a guy who sends me such videos or related to the heart attack or organ enlargement, they live a lifestyle like taking alcohol daily, or having those unhealthy diets, and don't go to the gym, and they are fermenting themselves to get heart attack sooner than a person who is using anabolics. So for natives, I would advise that do your blood work. Don't fear the needles. It will cost you like 1K or 2K to do a lot of blood work. Then just buy a blood BP monitoring device. You can do like twice in a week, I would say. Then take the fish oil daily. Just, I don't say to take triple string, but you can take 1 mg fish oil at least. Then do the training properly. Not overtrain. Don't increase the intensity, the explosiveness, duration. Just do the proper training, and don't blame the enhanced users, because they don't have any idea about the ecosystem we are living in. That's why I'm listing out all of those things. So that's all about heart health. If you can manage all of these things, then you can prevent the risk of having these 3 major risks I have said. So to like from 70% to like under 5%, you can prevent that. Then it's going to be about dosing, duration, and a lot of other things that I will say in the last of this video, in the management part. Okay, so the next thing is going to be the organ enlargement and cancer tumor growth. So this is also a main concern in the PED world, that the users who's running PEDs have the potential risk to develop cancer tumors, or the growth of existing cancer tumors, and have organ enlargement. I think this starts from the use of PEDs, or the emerging use of PEDs in the PEDs world, or in the bodybuilding. So unlike anabolics or SARMs, this deals with more on the insulin use, the peptides use, as well as combining 2 of them with anabolics. So it works synergetically to grow organs and existing tumors. Before going into how it works, but I have to say that genetics plays a big role, or a major role, in your organ enlargement or having a cancer tumor. If your ancestors having any kind of cancer or died from a cancer, then you have to be aware of these risks. So you have to do the gene test to know if you are prone to have any kind of cancers, or have any kind of cancer tumor in your body. Then the only option I think is to screen your whole body MRI. That is the best option. Then it's going to be the gene testing. So like I said, all of these side effects depends mainly on genetic factors. If you're genetically prone to have these kind of things, then peptides, insulin, anabolics can amplify that. So in my case, I've been dealing with the injuries. So I've been taking certain kind of hormones, that hormone angiogenesis in the tendons and such areas where there is no blood flow. Like when I mean angiogenesis, it means that in the tendons or in such areas, when I inject BPC or something, it will create new blood vessels in those areas. So synergetically, if you have a cancer tumor in your body, then like I said, the blood vessels will also form around those tumors and grow them to give more energy, the more glucose into that tumor. So basically that is what happens when you have existing cancer tumor. Even maybe just by taking anabolics, it can grow. So it depends on your diet. If you are eating more carbs, then don't taking any kind of PEDs can also grow. It will just fasten up the process. Okay, so just taking anabolics, insulin. If you talk about insulin, the function is pretty simple. Depending on the carbohydrate you are taking and the dose of insulin, it is like a nutrient shuttling. I can't remember the process right now. So the carbohydrate will go directly to those muscles that you have trained. Okay, so when you have any existing tumors in your body, like I said, heart is also a muscle. All kind of organs also a muscle. So insulin will also promote the growth, repair on tumors, as well as also your organs. So if you do this in a regular basis, like taking insulin I take only short acting insulin like Humalo. So when you take long acting insulin or prolonged release of there is a long acting insulin that all of the old age people take it. So if you take that on a regular basis on high doses with high doses of growth hormone, so when, like I said, the carbohydrates, the glucose will go to certain areas. So the growth hormone factor is going to grow those, signal the growth factors to those areas. So it will work synergetically and works best for such kind of situations. So like I said, when you take insulin and GH, then it will amplify the risk of having the risk of enlarging your organs as well as growing your cancer tumor. So when you take anabolics, then it just works synergetically. So this depends on the dose and duration and on the genetic factor. The way I use the GH and insulin is like once in a week. Once in a week it is well tolerated, but like I said, I take break from that for like 1 or 2 months. Then I restart that protocol. Like after my heavy arm wrestling session, I do the this protocol. I can't mention that right now. I do a very good protocols with other lot of peptides. So like I said, any kind of growth releasing peptides have this risk, but it depends on your genetic factor. But that is the main thing. So don't run this protocol for long. Don't run it for very consistently. You have to be very careful with, like I said, insulin, GH, and anabolics. So that's all about organ enlargement and cancer tumor growth. So the next thing is going to be the hair fall, acne, aging. So in hair fall, we know that if you're genetically prone to have baldness, then taking anabolics or DHT derivative compounds. If you look at anabolic family, there's three parts. So three roots, I would say. One is going to be DHT derivatives. The next thing is going to be testosterone derivatives. The next thing is going to be nandrolone derivatives. 19 or I think something like that. In nandrolone, there's decandrin. In testosterone, I would say equipoise, debol, halotestin, a couple more. Then on DHT, there's a lot of compounds like that, anandrol, maybe a lot of compounds like that. When you take DHT derivatives, so even though if you are on TRT, your DHT level goes pretty much high. Then by introducing DHT derivatives, then DHT itself can cause hair fall, hair thinning, a lot of that. So if you are prone to have baldness, or if you want to keep your hair, then don't touch the DHTs. And when you take TRT, then you have to be using any topical DHT, finasteride, minoxidil kind of stuff, topical treatments right there. So that way you can prevent your hair fall. So the next thing is going to be the acne. It is a main, even though I'm very prone to have acne in my face, chest, back, very less on back, but face and shoulders. So it is basically high level of testosterone cause sebum production, and you will literally cause acne. And there are certain hormones, androgenic hormones, that when you take that, then you are going to develop cyst acne and a lot of that. In order to combat that, you have to be very clean on your diet. Take Accutane, isotretinoin, low dose, but it have a lot of other side effects. So that is your last option when you want to take that. I suggest it is better to take after doing your PED. It have a lot of side effects. So isotretinoin, then there is some kind of topical treatment like benosidiol peroxide or something. I have right there. This thing that you can do is to control your diet and lower your dosage of compounds that you're taking. Then next thing is going to be the aging factor. So like I said, anabolics will age you. Like it depends on dose duration and genetics, but like I said, in other aspects, the peptides like GH, low dose GH, and there are certain compounds. I won't list it right now, but there are certain peptides out there. It can reverse aging, or help with your skin texture, your hair, and a lot of other things. There are a lot of peptides over that in the market. One thing is going to be the GHK-C. Very common in the derma field. The biohacking level compound is going to be 2 IU of GH every day, or combining CJC NODAC with ipamorelin. So I think that is the best options you can have while taking these anabolics to reverse aging or control your aging. Also, it depends on the doses. When you ramp up your doses to an extreme level, then there is nothing that is going to stop you from aging. So that's all about hair fall, aging, and acne. And in my case, I do have this the side effect of all of these three things, but I don't think I'm very aware of, or I don't think I need to control my hair fall or acne. That is the least thing I'm concerned about in terms of the side effect profile. So the next thing is going to be the tendon and ligaments. So it mainly depends on the hormones that you're taking. Yes, anabolic steroids have negative impact on your tendons. There's a few studies out there, but even in my case, I've been struggling with these injuries and tendon health for like more than a year, and I have debunked the reason for those injuries. I will explain that in the injury part. So taking anabolics, yes, taking anabolics have negative impact, but when you take peptides, it have many positive impact on your tendons, like BPC, GH, TB500, and a lot of other more peptides out there to help your tendons. In anabolics, if you look into that, if you take DHT derivative, then it have a negative impact on your tendons in many pathways. So lowering your estradiol is going to kill your joints and tendons. Believe me, I'm the literal example right here. So I will explain all those things in the injury section over the part. So this is all about tendon and joints. It will have negative impact, but not in a short run. But if you use DHT and anastrozole, aromatizing inhibitors like anastrozole, tamoxifen, those things, then you will get the negative effects on the tendon as fast as you can. So the next thing is going to be the mental health while being on steroids. There are hormones that will cause your blood-brain barrier. That is a function you have to do the research on. So there are hormones like, I would say, tren or an androgen derivative, that a low exposure to any kind of anabolics in high doses and durations. Don't do the PCT, then you will develop a lot of almost all kind of mental side effects. So I will list out the very common side effects you can get from PEDs: anxiety, mood swings, insomnia, depression, brain fog, loss of motivation and purpose, emotional breakdown, dopamine imbalances, loneliness. In This is the main mental side effects. Then if you look at the mental condition side effects, like there are certain mental conditions. So ADHD like conditions, symptoms, OCD and bipolar, aggression and rage, sleep disorders. And I have suffered, even I have listed all of these side effects. Then I would say the side effect that I have most suffered is the mental side effect. I have listed from anxiety to loneliness, right? I have suffered almost all those side effects. It doesn't appear like, first it will have a low effect of anxiety. On top of that, it will have a low effect of depression. On top of that, a little bit of mood swings, then brain fog, a lot of motivation. This is the whole structure. Then on top of that, your dopamine get fluctuated while you're taking those. Then in order to manage your dopamine, you have to take other such hormones. So while taking all of these hormones, you can't really control your mental side effects. This is the least concerned, or the least side effect most people talk about while taking PEDs. That's why I'm listing all of these things. Then if you look at the condition that you are going to get, even you can develop ADHD like symptoms. It depends on the genetic factors. Like if you have any kind of genetically prone to any kind of conditions, or you have a low level of any kind of mental conditions, then taking anabolic steroids or any kind of PEDs will amplify the effects. This has to be a quote, like PEDs will amplify the effects of every kind of illness, flaws, genetic disorders, condition, any kind of bad things you have and the good things you have. Anabolic steroids will multiply or amplify the effects. That is why you are getting a lot of good effects on your body as well as bad effects on your body. It depends on person to person. If some person develop more side effects on BP and other area of the side effects, in my case I have experienced a lot of side effects only from mental health. It is insanely hard to control the mental side effect. I will explain my case in the setback part of this documentary. So I don't think just lowering your dose and living a healthy life is the only option to control mental side effects. So when people criticize PED users, this is the first thing I have is the insane rage going on my mind, because they don't even aware of all of these kind of side effects and the things we are going through on a daily basis. On day one, we might have mood swings. On day two, we might have depression. On day three, we might have loneliness. Then on day four, we might have dopamine crash. Then so when I was doing TRT, it was very easy to handle. Almost all of these side effects doesn't show up. Depends on, like I said, dose, duration, and genetics. So that's all about the side effects, the list of side effects, the potential list of side effects that can be caused by taking anabolics. The next part is going to be the side effect management, or controlling all of those side effects from I have made like 6 pillars of factors that you can look up to while managing the side effects. Okay. So the first pillar is going to be the genetic factor. So genetics is going to be the major factor that decides the side effect that you are going to get. So if you have any kind of genetic issues or flaws, then taking steroids will literally amplify the effects. So if you have any kind of mental conditions, or any kind of like bipolar or ADHD or any kind of those things, then taking steroids will amplify the effects of that condition. So if you have any kind of heart related issues, then taking these PEDs is going to amplify the effects. Like so most of the people who's dying from heart attack in the early age, so if you are going to take the steroids, then you are literally increasing the risk of that happening. So like I said, you have to, at least if you have the money, then you have to do the gene testing. That is the best thing you have right now. Then you have to analyze your any kind of illness from your grandparents or parents that you are probably going to face any sooner. Then like I said, baldness, if you have if you are genetically prone to have baldness, then taking steroids, especially DHT derived steroids, is going to fasten up the process. So like I said, you have to be aware of your genetic flaws and issues. Then you can literally control, or you can predict what are the side effects that you are going to get. Or you can take care of that, side effect profile. Or if you have any kind of heart illness, then you can, you can be very careful with the, heart panels like, blood work and ECG and, BP. You can, decide the hormones that you are going to take. There are certain hormones that will raise the BP. So if you are genetically prone to have heart attack, then you have to avoid, certain kind of hormones. And it's better to avoid the anabolic steroids and choose some, safe stuff if you're really into PEDs. So the next pillar is going to be the complete protocol. So in protocol, so the protocol consists of your goals, how much fund you have, how much money you are planning to spend in this protocol, then how much desire you have to win or achieve something, then how much time you have to sacrifice for this game. So like I said, what is the reason for starting these PEDs? So that comes under the protocol factor. So it depends on your goal. Is your goal is to become a bodybuilder or power builder or strength trainer, arm wrestler or swimmer, athlete, or any kind of goal? Then how much money you are planning to spend on this game? Like if you have a lot of fun, then you can do the top level management of side effects like gene testing, any kind of therapies and all of that. You can source high quality PEDs and you can do the blood work very regularly. And if you have the more the money, the more the safer it becomes. So then it's going to be your desire. How much are you willing to sacrifice? It comes under it also. It also depends on your time. How much are you willing to sacrifice your time for this game? How much time you have to do your research, or how much time you have to do your training. So it all depends. It all comes under the protocol factor. What are you trying to achieve from taking these steroids? What are your goals? What are you going to do? All of these things will sort out what are the PEDs that you need or you are going to take. So the next pillar is going to be the dosing factor. I think this is the most important thing and the most easiest thing that you can control while taking these PEDs. So most of the side effects depends on the dosing and duration. So another the next pillar is going to be the duration. It is very similar and related to each other. So the dosing and duration is going to decide the intensity of side effects that you are going to get, or the risk of side effects that you are going to get. So like I said, the one factor is going to be the dosing. For example, in testosterone, you can run TRT level, the low dose of testosterone, for a long period of time. And if you are going to ramp up the dosage to like 500 mg per week, then you are going to run that hormone for like much shorter than the low dose. Then if you are going to ramp up the dosage to like 1 gram per week, then that is going to be very shorter than 500 mg per week. So in order to maintain the side effects. So, and this is going to be the easiest thing that you can control. Like if you are getting any kind of side effect from taking the 500 mg per week, then you can just reduce the dosage on the next intake of that compound, and you can safely control that side effect. You can make that side effects under control, and you can take the necessary ancillaries and supplements to to control those side effects. And duration is also another important factor. There are certain compounds that can be run for like 10 to 15 weeks, and there are some compounds that can be run for like only 1 or 2 weeks. So the higher the toxicity, the shorter the duration is going to be. Or you have to be willing to take that side effect. So you have to be willing to risk yourself into that position of extending that duration of high toxic compounds. So like I said, dosing and duration is the easiest thing and the best thing you can manage while being on PEDs. So the next pillar is going to be the diet. So like I said, diet is also another important factor. So that's going to decide almost many of the side effects that you are going to get, especially inflammation, oxidative stress, BP, a lot of other things. So I would suggest that even if you are bulking or cutting, that you have to take high quality nutritional value foods. That is what I would suggest. Like I can see most of the bodybuilders, when they do the bulking, they just take a lot of junk foods. For them it's just only the calories. So in my opinion, it's better to take, or it is always better to take high quality nutritional value foods. Like instead of choosing sunflower or vegetable oil, it's better to choose olive oil, butter, coconut oil, ghee. Such kind of high quality foods. So in terms of protein foods, then it's better to choose high quality complete source of proteins like beef, chicken, fish, paneer, and all of such high quality foods. So even though when you are cutting, you have to maintain a well balanced calorie intake. Like you don't need to go that extreme, but if your sports demands that, then there is no other choice. So like I said, so diet is going to be a backbone of benefits and side effects that you are going to get from PEDs while using the PEDs. So the next and last factor is going to be the lifestyle. In lifestyle, it depends upon all of the factors, like the things you are going to sacrifice. The diet is also a lifestyle factor. The training sessions, the training duration itself is going to impact your lifestyle that you have to. So you have to be very consistent and disciplined with being an enhanced user or being an enhanced athlete, more than being an anti. Because when you take PEDs, that is going to like I said, enhance a lot of things. Not only just your body, you have to work out. You have to train according to the hormones that you are going to take. So there is no safe zone, or there is no comfort zone, I think, while being on PEDs. That so you have to work a lot harder than being an anti. That's why you choose to take these hormones to become the absolute best. You have to sacrifice a lot of things, and you have to literally. So you have to be very consistent and disciplined with PEDs and the trainings, and so basically the whole protocol under the course. So that's it. That's the 6 pillars I have created to manage these side effects and ancillaries and medicines that you can take to fix particular side effects. So all the natis and doctors can do the research. Like instead of listing out all of those side effects, from the Google or from the YouTube, then you're just few clicks away from knowing how we are managing these side effects. So if the side effects are really true, then all of the bodybuilders are dead by now. Otherwise, they are facing a lot of illness like cancer, so liver disease and heart attack and a lot of other things. So I said, all of those side effects can be managed to a very extent, and it depends on person to person. And the side effect that I'm facing is not going to be the side effect other users are going to face. So it all depends on the genetic factors and the person's goal and whatever, and a lot of other things I have mentioned right here. So to those enhanced users, some of them are well aware and very updated to the latest research and news in this latest research and news in this community. And and there are other users who just gambles with their life and be very lucky with the PEDs, but end of the day they are going to pay the price, not now, maybe later in their life. So that's all about the side effect and management factors. Like I have listed, I hope I have listed almost all of them. And I think I'm missing out a lot of things to say, but this is as much as I can recollect right now. So that's about the side effects and management part.